Well, welcome back. Episode 2, we made it. Wasn't sure if we'd get here, but we're here. Today I'm drinking a coffee. It's called Finca Tamana. It's from a roaster in Oslo, Norway. My sister's husband, they live in Italy, and he's big into coffee too. So I mentioned to him that I got this one. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I was gonna get that one because it's on this subscription program called Fellow Drops." And then he was like, "But you know what? We're gonna go to Oslo this year, so I'm just gonna go to the roaster and get a bag of coffee." And I was like, "Sick, dude. Sick. Thanks for making me feel insignificant in my taste and love of good coffee." So, anyways, really, really good. I would highly suggest people pick up some of these coffees because it'll just change the way that you think about coffee. Moving on. Point of this one, I'm homeless, y'all. And I don't think that I could say homeless. I'm not technically homeless, but there was a living situation going on with one of the coaches that works here at the gym. And it made more sense for me to just allow them to move into where I was living and I move out because I've had this idea that I've wanted to get I don't even know what it was that I wanted to get. I just wanted to be mobile. I wanted to be able to go essentially camp, but I was looking at rooftop tents. I was looking more into like vehicle camping as opposed to like true backpacking and tent camping. Though those are things that I want to do as well. I just know myself and I'm good at sleeping. I'm a good sleeper, but I was just worried a little bit about, those things are fun to do, but if I'm sacrificing my quality of sleep, like how well can you really sleep on the ground in a tent? I'm sure there's people out there who'd say, "Oh, you can sleep amazing on the ground in a tent." And I believe that. To each his own. It's subjective, but I didn't want to just go all into, you know, backpacking and tent camping and then find out like I can't sleep well. Because then that's just terrible, right? Sleep is very important to me. So I was like, what about a rooftop tent? So if I have my truck, I get a bed rack, and then I am mobile because I could obviously take my truck anywhere, and then that's kind of like home base. So if I were to go somewhere where I was going to hike and just explore, I could always just make my way back to my truck that has my rooftop tent on it, and I'm good to go. I got a rooftop tent, got a place to sleep. It's more of like the overlanding style. Overlanders are people who have their cars just decked out for basically whatever. They could just overland, travel by land for as long as they want. So I had been looking into that stuff, wanted to do it. Well, obviously, in that realm, you kind of start seeing things like micro campers, right? Those small teardrop style can really put on any car or tow with any car. It doesn't require some crazy tow capacity, like a truck would provide, like a full size truck. So I started looking into those, and when this whole thing started happening, I just figured, hey, excuse me, it's like moist out. I just started thinking maybe this is the opportunity for me to allow this coach to move into where I'm living, to get the rooftop tent, right? Just pull the trigger on having a place to sleep that kind of stays with me was my thought process. Because at the end of the day, I have this gym. It's 10,000 square feet. The room I'm sitting in right now is my office. It's also the podcast room that Dan and I had set up. But now it's just my office, and we still could obviously use it for the podcast room. We can. We just have to move some things around. But as we grow, I just needed some room to be here and work isolated. So there's a rug down, there's a TV in here, there's curtains on the window. It's pretty homey in here. So that's why I don't really feel like I've truly adopted the, like, I'm just living out of a van or I'm just living out of a camper, which sounds funny because it's like backwards to think of it that way. Even though who's to say what's forwards, moving forward in the right direction, like progressing in life. Maybe moving into a micro camper is the next step of progression for you wherever you're going. And I think it was for me. So it's been an interesting experience. And I wanted to provide that backstory because that's how I got there. This wasn't just randomly one day figured, let me see how this is. It's been something I'd been thinking about doing. It started with overlanding in a rooftop tent to be able to go hiking because I love hiking. And then it kind of transitioned into, okay, well, what about these micro campers, teardrop trailers, the smaller ones, really small, minimal. And I have a video that I'll show in here. So the time was right. We found one that was close by. It was about an hour and a half from here in Gainesville. And I went and looked at it and kind of loved it. I was like, sure, let's see. So it's basically a 5x8 trailer. It's a square drop, it's called, because it's not completely square. It's got a slant on the front, so it's a square drop trailer. But yeah, I just figured I'm huge on practicing what you preach, and I've always been somebody who's claimed to want to have a minimalist lifestyle. It's important to me. I feel like the more we collect things, the more we get used to things being part of our identity. And I don't really like that because I don't believe that's healthy, at least for me personally. Oh, I'm talking from experience for all of these things and my feelings on these things. So I like to detach myself from things. I don't place a high value on really anything. I mean, if all of the stuff that I own was to be completely wiped out by whatever, a natural disaster, a robber, doesn't matter. I really wouldn't be too upset by that, other than like my laptop and my Mac Mini, the things that allow me to be productive. Those things I would be like, ah. But again, it's like, okay, well, I could just go buy another, laptop or Mac Mini. Not that that's great, but point being, I'm not attached to things. I don't get attached to things. They don't really hold sentimental value to me. So I always talk about that. I always think about that. I don't want to feel stuck in a place because of the things that I own. And when you have a house, you tend to collect. And then whether it's a garage or a basement or an attic or a closet, you just start to accumulate stuff. It's natural. And there's people who don't seemingly have a lot of stuff, but really you do. Like, imagine all the times that you move, or think about when you move and you go, oh my God, I didn't know that I had half of this stuff. And that was to me also part of the thought process of what would it be like to have a rooftop tent or, a micro camper. So again, there was a lot of moving parts that went into this happening. But again, we'll talk about the experience of it, right? That's kind of the background, and that's what happened. So I know I have this 10,000 square foot facility that makes it so I don't really have nothing but that micro camper, because that'd be a little different. There's people who have them built out to have full kitchens and just craziness. You go anywhere and you got like a full blown kitchen. Some people have shower hookups, but I was really thinking minimal. I wanted to see if I liked it. So I haven't been in a house for like 2 weeks. I maybe more at this point. I think I've owned it for like 3 weeks to a month, and I would say I've stayed in it 90% of the time. Obviously, you can't do this if you have, depending on where you are and what you have, like having an animal would be really difficult to do this with. A dog would be easier, but a cat would be extremely difficult. So those are, lifestyle factors there that you'd obviously have to take into account. But there's pros and cons. All right. In the beginning, it was really a different sleep environment because you just feel, I don't want to say exposed, but it's just the walls of the micro camper and you. That's the only thing that separates you from the outside, which is different because normally when you're sleeping in a house, it's like, whether it's a single level, like floor level, or it's got an upstairs and a downstairs, like there's just a lot more separation between you and outside. And this was a good little segue for me, because if I do want a tent camp, obviously then you're just talking about the fabric of the tent. So you're really exposed outside. So that was new for me. The mattress is pretty comfortable. It's like a 3-inch thick, 3 to 4 inch thick mattress, memory foam. It's tri-fold, so it folds up into what looks like a little couch in there, but I don't really fold it up much. I just use it. I mean, again, in here I have chairs, couches, my desk. So like I come in here and this is where this is where my lounging and working, area is. That is where I sleep. Basically, it's just a bed for me. It's just an outside bed. I don't have a shower here at the gym, and I don't have a shower hookup on the micro camper, so that was a big one. I have a Planet Fitness membership, and I just go shower at Planet Fitness. That also took a little bit getting used to. So sleeping outside, well, not really outside, but sleeping inside a box at first, it was like a little claustrophobic, and I was a little more sensitive to noises, right? Because I was like, is somebody trying to break into my micro camper? But I'm completely past that now. I sleep honestly so well in there. I got some new blackout curtains. I had cardboard taped up on the windows to keep the light from coming in, and that I felt really homeless when I did that. So I ordered some blackout curtains, and now it's like luxurious and so dark in there. And there's an air conditioner right at my feet, which is sick because I love to sleep cold. So this air conditioner, I set it to like 67 at night and just let it blow right on my feet, and it's amazing. So showering. That one is new. The gym is like 5 minutes away. So Planet Fitness is 5 minutes away from here. I at first walked in there, and it's like one of those things. This goes for anything in life. When it's a new experience, you don't know what to expect. It's a little uncomfortable because you're not used to it, and we're very much by nature creatures of habit, and so we like to figure things out so that it's just mindless for us to continue to move forward and do whatever that thing is. So whenever we learn something new, part of the learning process is feeling that sense of discomfort. It's like dissonance, like in music. It doesn't work, and then you resolve it, and it's like, oh, okay, there we go. Now we're good. And that's where growth is. That's why people always say, accept discomfort, be uncomfortable. So, showering in a public place is definitely something that's probably new for most people. It was new for me. But now I got such a system, I don't even think about it. Like I'm there, all right, it's a 5-minute drive as if I was going to be going home. And then I walk straight in. I have the most efficient system of getting in there and getting into the shower, getting out. Like at first I was just kind of like, do I need to just like wear a bathing suit in here so it's simple? Do I need to carry? I was sick of carrying a giant towel, so I found a backpacking towel. And that's a lot of the things that I have purchased and now own bode well for both lifestyles. Like I want to do more hiking, I want to do more traveling, more outdoor exploration, and the things that I've purchased to allow myself to function in this living situation has kind of set me up to be able to go live, or not live, but go hike, go take a weekend and go hike somewhere. And I feel like I'm going to be way more adept because I've been living in a micro camper. Like I don't have a normal house. So it's not like I'm not going to be removing myself from a traditional living situation. So the hiking, the camping, all of that, which I want to do more of, I think is going to be much easier now. It's like a good transition. So yeah, I'm in, I'm out. I got my little travel shampoos and body washes and all that stuff that live inside of this Velcro pouch. I have my backpack, which this backpack that I got has been amazing as well. And so yeah, I just got such a system, and it's actually been phenomenal because I feel lighter. I don't feel like I have as much holding me down. I mean, if I wanted to just be able to up and go, this is my business. So this building that I pay rent for makes sense to me because it's making me money. A regular home that you're, either paying a mortgage on or paying rent on, for the most part, it's just a liability, right? And Robert Kiyosaki talks about that a lot in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, assets and liabilities. And I feel like now I bought that trailer outright. So we got an amazing deal on it, bought that outright. And now, I just own that. And honestly, I love sleeping in there. So I think at some point I'll have a house, but also, time will tell. I'm open to anything. I just know living in that thing right now, it's great. And so I'm in no rush to take on having a rent payment outside of the gym or a mortgage payment, because I've been there, done that. And honestly, the stressors of owning a house kind of far outweigh any pros, in my opinion, of owning a house personally. Now, I did live with a bunch of other people. I owned the house. I kind of played landlord, and it was difficult because I had friends. It was friends and employees that rented from me in that house. And I don't know that I would suggest that dynamic to anybody because it's difficult. It's really difficult. You got to be like, hey, rent is due, and why didn't you pay rent? And that you're living with friends and employees, and it just really blurs a lot of lines. So I was in that situation, wasn't a huge fan. Outside of that, playing landlord and tenant and friend and boss and all of that stuff, the maintenance, something, oh, hey, shower's not working, Bondi. It's like, okay, let me go up there and see what I can do. Okay, this is beyond me. I need to call a plumber. And then for them to come out, it's $300. And then for them to make the repair, it's another $300. I'm just like, oh my God. So here I am thinking that this is a good idea to own a house. I'm building equity, and then it's $600 repair here, $700 repair here. Oh, you got to replace the HVAC. Oh, your hot water heater's broken. It's like, okay, can we please stop with the expenses of this house? So needless to say, my single, it's not even bedroom, just bed, my little micro camper doesn't have any of those problems, and I love it. All right, it just sits there. It keeps me from getting rained on at night. It's got an air conditioner in it that keeps me cool when it's hot. And then I just got extra blankets if I get cold. So it's simple. And I love simple. Simple feels good. So that's what I've been trying to operate on. And that's what I always talk about. And that's why I say kind of practice what you preach. I love the simplicity of it. So, yeah, that's been my experience living in a micro camper and being semi-homeless. It's unique, but liberating in a sense. And for those who are for those who are interested in doing it, I would say I highly suggest trying it out. I wanted to do this regardless of whether or not I was going to like it or not, because I wanted to see. So I'm glad I did it, and I've been pleasantly surprised that the second I learned how to operate and function with that living situation, like not being able to... There are some more cons that I need to make sure that I talk about. But living in that situation, I wasn't sure, am I going to like that? Am I going to like not having access to a shower, readily available to me in the next room? And no, it hasn't proven to have been a problem at all. I will say little things like if I wake up in the middle of the night and I have to pee, like I got to get out, I got to go outside and I come into the gym, but still like going from there into the gym, if it's raining, I'm just like, oh, okay, here we go. I gotta, I'm gonna get rained on. And I do have an umbrella in there, but it's just like such a hassle. If I'm like, I just want to wake up and go pee, I don't want to have to take an umbrella out, stumble my way through that, open it, and then when I come back out, leave it outside there because it's wet now. Just the whole, that to me, I'm just like, okay, I'd rather just walk out there and go. So when it's not raining, it's great, it's easy. But when it is, I'm just kind of subject to the environment. It's close enough that I could just, it's quick to jump out and walk in. But yeah, I would say it was a good experience. It's something that I want to do at other places because my goal is to be able to really, between my laptop, I do want to get like a mobile Wi-Fi setup so that I can get Wi-Fi wherever I am, and then be able to take this thing and still be productive and work and get things done wherever. I don't want to feel stuck or anchored to one thing too much. And that's just a me thing, Everybody's got their own thing. Some people need that anchor, but it makes me feel kind of stuck. And so, yeah, I kind of love the micro camper life. That's my feedback on being homeless, and I would suggest it to anybody to try to see if it's something that they like too, based on the fact that it is liberating and makes you feel a little bit lighter. That's it for today. Just wanted to share my story of being homeless and having to shower at a public gym and sleep in a 5x8 trailer. I love it. I'm adopting a lifestyle. It's going to be homeless by choice. I'll probably just adopt that, and that'll be my journey of being homeless by choice. I'll just, give updates every once in a while. Make sure the camper's doing all right. No leaks. It's been great. There we go. 20 minutes in. Another podcast done. Thank you all for listening. I don't know what I'm talking about on these at all. This was just something I've been thinking about and figured I'd share because I haven't said it yet, really. I haven't made an announcement that I'm homeless because, I just don't really care if people know or not. I'm just doing my thing, and if it comes up, it comes up. And here it is. It came up. So hopefully I'll put a video in here somewhere. I'm sure I will earlier. And you guys get to see what it looked like. I'll put a picture on like my Instagram and whatnot. But until next time, y'all, keep it real. Sitting outside, Planet Fitness right now. About to go in. Packed right now. Normally not this many people here.